Alright, let's sing my love again. Quite a long time ago, well, I can actually date it because it was 2 years ago, I made a video all about the reasons why I love Come From Away. That is my favourite musical of all time, and I was doing it to celebrate the closure of that show. Give it one final tribute before I said goodbye. And I recently thought of that concept, and I was thinking about other musicals that I could maybe do videos like that for. Kind of unscripted rambles about my journey with a show, why I love it so much, and the one that really felt prominent to me was Hadestown. This is a musical that's been in my life for a long time now. I first saw the show at the National, I watched it from afar on Broadway, and then it finally came back to us. And I have a lot to say, and a lot of different reasons why I really treasure Hadestown, and the way that it's changed and morphed over the years. So, why do I love Hadestown? Why is this a musical that I find myself going back to and back to and back to again? Let's find out. But if you haven't seen my face before, hi, I'm Ellie. I talk about theatre. I am the most chaotic theatre person on the internet, but I'm going to be more than hello today. I do reviews, I do discussions, I do versus brackets and game shows, and if any of that sounds interesting to you, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It really helps me, it helps out the channel. But let's dive in to Hadestown. You've waited for me to speak about it, and I'm coming to talk to you about it now. Now, while my journey with Hadestown spans, 2018, let's do some quick maths. 7 years, I want to say? The journey that the show itself has gone on is much longer. It's an old song, an old tale from way back when. 2009. So long ago. This is a musical that's no stranger to workshopping itself, new productions, changing, moulding, shaping itself. It's done it through years and years of process. Starting as just an idea in Anais Mitchell's head and slowly growing and changing beyond that. Through songs just performed by Mitchell herself, to New York City workshops, to taking the show to different countries like Canada and London in the UK. And I think the idea of growth and change and slowly working yourself to mould a show to be the best it can possibly be is what is so magical about theatre. It's an ever-changing art form. Even shows that have been open for 10 years will have little things changed. Maybe it's just lines that feel a little bit less favourable now. Maybe it's attitudes of the public. Maybe it's references and keeping things updated so that it still appeals to a modern audience. Shows will always change because theatre is a medium about right now. It's not a time capsule. It's not this or that and the other. It's not a film that's been created and stopped and finished. Every single actor who comes into a show, every single performer or creative, or even switching of a resident director will change tiny little things about a show. But it's very rare you find a show that is so open to that, even to minute things, and even so regularly as Hadestown is. And that's one of the key reasons I love this show so much. Every single performer who comes into Hadestown feels like they get to make their own creation. They get to take the characters, the idea of them, and really play to bring themselves into it. A Victoria Hamilton Barrett performed Persephone feels completely different to how Amber Gray plays it. You can have someone legendary like Andre de Shields take on a role of Hermes, but then you can also have someone like Ali Daniel cover that role. Two performers who are completely different, have completely different energies, but still manage to take their own personality and their own ideas and their own way of performing and channel it into these roles. I think that's one of the key reasons why I've gone back and back and back to Hadestown, and that's where I want to start. I first saw this show with the original cast, and they were phenomenal. I love the OGs, even Obazada, Andre de Shields, Patrick Page, Amber Gray, even Reeve Carney, and those original Fates as well. Getting to see them and getting to see their takes on the roles, even though they were still kind of finding their footing and a lot of things changed since then, it was so great to see. And then eventually they went to Broadway and everything changed again. especially when it comes to Orpheus, changing a lot of that character dynamic to make you root for him a lot more. So when we eventually got the show back in London, it felt so different, even though not loads and loads had changed. We have the incredible Donald Finn as Orpheus. A stunning portrayal, a real heart to the role. One of my favourite things that he performed is the way that he does If It's True. We have Grace Hodgett Young as Eurydice. There was a real fire to that portrayal. I really enjoyed her take on that role. Pardon the reference here, but a real hunger in that portrayal. No matter what happens, and even though I've seen so many people do this role incredibly, MichellinaaB will always be my Hermes. Always. Forever. The care that she took with that role, she got even better as that run went on. It was night and day when I went to see her towards the end, and just, oh my god. The passion, the power, the care, the little moments, the looks that she would give in those key moments where Eurydice goes to the underworld. She brought so much emotion, so much heart. You instinctively look to her for reactions, for moments, for those glimpses. Even when she's not the key focus, there was so much on her. That's what I love about Hermes, especially looking at Hermes as a storyteller and a guide through this story. Of course, we have the magnificent Gloria as Persephone. I think one of the most beautiful vocals that I've heard from a Persephone. The moments where she stands up to Hades being real clear highlights in my head. Because obviously I'm throwing back to a show and performances that I've seen, like, what, over a year ago? My memory's not amazing. But also that dynamic that she created with Zachary James, it was so beautiful to watch. Their connection was so true and real. And I really love Zachary's performance as well. The stern king of the underworld. And something they spoke about in the program for that one that was really interesting was him being the American of the cast. Because obviously allowing these performers to take on their own accents gave so many different dynamics and made the character of Hades feel a lot more unique, creating this kind of factory boss, this capitalist in a way. And Hadestown is so clever with that, casting these characters in a very specific way to create these different dynamics. And as people come and go, these shift and change. I think that's something I definitely felt with Mel and the newcomers who came in, replacing the originals in the second half of the first year. We suddenly got an Orpheus who is so much more innocent in Dylan Wood. And honestly, dare I say, my favourite Orpheus of all time that I have seen? I'm daring to say it. Because that's what I love about Orpheus. Orpheus is a boy who is completely absorbed into this song and this world, and he doesn't really have a full sense of what the world truly is like. He could see how the world could be in spite of the way that it is. And Dylan portrays that so well. He portrays it perfectly for me. That's exactly what I'm looking for in an Orpheus, and I get it in Dylan Wood. And with a much more innocent Orpheus, the motherly and the maternal instincts of Hermes feel like they come out even stronger. It's all suddenly there, and it clicks so much more of that dynamic between the two. It's a really different take, but you can see how another cast member coming in can bring a different side out of another actor as well. These dynamics shift and change. And pair that with the other great performers in that cast, Rachel Tucker as Persephone, someone who I was quite shocked to learn be taking on Persephone, but the second I saw it, it made so much sense. Rachel Tucker is a great energy on stage. Rachel Tucker is a fantastic performer. She has vocals for days. And I can't believe I'm going to say it, but she has one of the most chaotic Our Ladies of the Underworld that I have ever seen. I thought that would be Victoria Hamilton Barrett's title to hold, but no, it's Rachel Tucker. Out of that cast, a real highlight was actually Trevor Dion-Nicholas's Hades. There was a real humanity to that Hades, a real heart of emotion. You could see the pride that Hades had. You could see that ambition that he had and how everything he does is literally for Persephone. And the second that she kind of throws it off and gets angry and is upset about it, he takes it so personally. I really got that channel through his performance. Oh my god, he broke my heart in Epic 3. The slow fade into the tears and the heartbreak of it all. Oh, just absolutely shattering. And of course, we got the good old MichellinaaB, starting in the original cast as a Fate and moving up to the role of Persephone. And by God, she earned it. The raw emotion in her flowers is unforgettable. And then we got our OGs back. Here, let's take a brief detour. I'm not structuring this at all. I'm so sorry this is a jambled, rumbled mess, but that's the idea of this series. I just ramble and speak off the cuff about shows I love. And if you want something more structured, you can watch my review on Hadestown. I did it like a year ago. I remember exactly falling in love with Hadestown at the National Theatre. That expansive set, the moments and the gorgeousness, the music and everything, the soul and the vibe, that it all came together for me when I first saw it there. I loved it so much, I came back weeks later. I did the rush again. I took my mum. I was like, Mum, you're gonna love this. While I'm always gonna have my favourites and I'm always going to champion the UK cast, I think there was something really special about the OGs returning and also doing it for a pro shot. We're gonna have Hadestown forever. We never have to say goodbye to Hadestown once we get that pro shot out, and I think that's magical. But also having them back for a full run, to have them all return together and actually get to say goodbye together, that was special. I remember being there at that first performance of the OGs. I did not think I was going to be able to see them again, because those tickets sold out like that. But I was there. I was sat. And the energy in that room was unlike anything I have ever seen. It was such a special experience. Getting to not only see these performers again, but see how their takes have grown. Because yes, I had been keeping an eye on the Broadway version, but I'm poor. I can't go to America. God, especially now I can't go to America. Oh, yippee! But so much had changed. And even between them finishing on Broadway, they have all grown as performers from that point to now. And I even got to see a new dynamic thanks to Philip Boykin coming over, as he quickly became one of my favourite Hades I've ever seen. The emotion in that portrayal. He honestly felt like he fit in so well to that original cast. It fit like a glove. Honestly, if I hadn't seen Patrick Page, and I love Patrick Page, I wish I could have seen Patrick Page again, but honestly, you know, he took his time, and I'll see him in the pro shot, it's absolutely fine. If I hadn't seen Patrick Page, and I hadn't known that Patrick Page was the original Hades, I would have thought that he fit this company perfectly. The dynamic between him and Amber Grace, phenomenal Persephone. That how long, oh, God. Getting to experience even Obazada doing flowers again, seeing how much the characterization of Orpheus has changed since that original London production through how Reeve portrays it. The crowds and everyone around just erupting after every single moment. Getting to witness Andre the Shield and the power that he has. That is a man with stage presence and he oozes it every second he's on stage. He is so perfect for Hermes because you cannot take your eyes off of him. When he speaks, you listen. And having them paired up with the original London cast as well as the ensemble and the Fates. Having that tribute to our original London cast there alongside these originals coming back. That pro shot is going to be magical, and the second that releases, I am there, I am sat, I am watching, I'm going to be giddy, I'm going to be waving this little flower thing in the air, I'm so ready for it. And we can round it out by coming to our latest cast, our beautiful current cast, because I can't believe it, but the Hadestown casting team, they need awards. They keep knocking it out of the gate. They are like 3 for 3 on London casts right now, and I'm so here for it. When Hadestown first announced it was coming to the UK, there were 2 names thrown around. And unsurprisingly, these are the 2 names that also the casting team were thinking of. We had Mel, and we had the incredible Cedric Neal. We'd seen Mel, I love Mel, but Cedric Neal as well is just so good. I have never heard Hermes sound so vocally strong. If you know Cedric O'Neill, you know that man can sing. And he riffs as Hermes. He riffs. But none of that emotion is lost. None of it is lost. He chooses the right moments of emotional heights to add in those flares in his performance. His connection to Dylan Wood's Orpheus is so strong. We have Dylan Wood. I've already spoken about why I love him. I'll give you a specific moment of why I love him as well. There's something he's done on a couple of the performances I've seen him perform, where when he enters the underworld and meets Eurydice again, he does like a slap of his chest. He's like, I came, I did it! And like it's like this big celebratory moment. And that's so wonderful. It's so sweet and so cute and makes that moment of reuniting have so much energy. I love that choice. But I've already bigged him up enough. Let's move on. Victoria Hamilton Barrett is someone who is so naturally comedic. She is so funny. She is one of the funniest people in the West End. Hands down. And she brings so much of that comedic timing to Persephone while not undermining the tragic nature of that character. She brings so much weight to Persephone while also bringing us the comedy, while bringing it in that moment. There's a real contrast to her in the underworld through chant to when we first see her, when we see her in Living Up on Top. The small moments of connection with her and Eurydice and her celebration and the comedy of it all to that contrast is so strong in her portrayal. It really, really stands out. We have our first ever principal British Hades in Chris Jarman. Now, obviously, Hades has always kind of been this capitalist, which is kind of defined by that very strong American accent all the time. And that goes back to Patrick Page and those deep, gravelly tones of his voice, the sternness and the power that he holds. Chris Jarman, bringing his own natural voice to that, gives Hades a very different dynamic, but it kind of works. And I think the reason why this works so much with this thick London accent is actually he feels a little bit more like a person who's lost his way. Like someone who's come into this wealth and come into this world and just slowly been wrapped into it. If American Hades kind of feels a lot more stern and like the owner of this business, Jarman's take kind of feels a little bit more like someone who used to be on your level, now stepping up and having to work twice as hard to keep that demand. And that's why I love Hadestown. I love this so much because you get such a different dynamic from even just an accent, from small character choices, from the way a person creates this role. And a lot of other musicals are so strict on keeping to what the OGs did. Whereas you can play so much more in Hadestown. And because of that, every single time you go, every single cast you see, there's a different dynamic. There's a different song that they perform so well. There's different highlights and moments and things that you pick up on. And finally, from these new cast members, from this current London cohort, we have the incredible Desmonda Caffabel, as Eurydice. This has been a dream role for her, and you can tell. She's got that character down. Her dynamic with Dylan Wood is so interesting to watch. Beautiful to see, absolutely stunning. I love this show. I just love this show. Every time I go see this show, I get more and more out of it. From the different casts, from covers coming on. I'm still yet to see loads of covers in Hadestown, and I will go see Ali Daniel. She's on this week. I'm trying to work out a day. I'm not sure if it's going to work, but if not, she's on again in September, so I'll go then. But different casts getting to make their own interpretation. This is what theatre is all about. The shaping and the moulding of it, and different people bringing their own interpretations. I think the freedom that the team behind Hadestown has given to these performers just allows this text to keep changing. Musically, it's phenomenal. It's so well crafted, and you can tell the years and years of work that have gone into this to refine it to be as perfect as it can possibly be. The jazz and the soul matches the tone of the story so perfectly. The adaptation of this myth changes exactly what it needs to change, but pairs up these stories so wonderfully. The contrast between Orpheus and Hades, I pick up on so many more details every single time. And no matter how many times I see it, that final moment, that final turn, will punch me in my gut till the day I die. Because that's what Hadestown is about. We tell this story again and again and again, even though we know how it's going to end, because it's the journey. It's the journey that is important. And what a journey I've been on with Hadestown. Falling in love with it at the National. Coming out of that pandemic period, falling in love with it again for its cast album. Finally getting it back and being invited to the launch of it. Getting to be in that room, getting the first glimpse of it. I will never really truly be able to comprehend that. And how magical that feels for me. Seeing the cast, seeing new people come in, getting to see the cast that made me fall in love with the show again. Back on that stage with an audience all there with that same purpose, and now this new cast again, once again reinterpreting these roles and bringing their own take to it. The freedom that these cast members get to have with Hadestown will constantly mean that the show evolves and changes, with the simple fact that actors come and actors go. That is a thing that will make Hadestown eternal. Even if it eventually leaves Broadway, even if it eventually leaves the West End. It is a show that is already baked in its original production reinterpretation, and it will be reinterpreted again and again and again, because this is a story that we have to tell. Always and forever. That's why I love Hadestown. But what do you think? Do you love Hadestown? So do I. I've told you all about it. Let me know why you love Hadestown in the comments down below. Which casts have you seen? Make me jealous and tell me all the Broadway cast members you've seen, because I can't see them. It's fun. I wish I could see them. I really want to make this an ongoing series and speak about other musicals that I really love and the reasons why I love them in just a casual, rambly tone. So if you do want to see more of this series, let me know. If you did enjoy this video, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It really helps me, it helps out the channel. Here's some links to some other videos on screen right now, and then link to my Instagram if you'd like to drop me a follow over there. I also have other social links and a merch store in the description down below. But that's it for me today, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.